But maybe this is his time to come back into his real form.
It's a Protoss he's facing first here. I wonder which one it'll be.
It must
Terminator,
be
not a bad choice, but I mean, if this guy beat SOS, I wouldn't pick him.
Yeah, I mean, he's 2-2 versus Zerg this season. Terminator, that is. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, very interesting choice. This means that later on they will have to they're not going to be able to use like one of the true pure rogue Maru players that you have, and you're putting out Terminator instead. It's a very interesting choice. He must have prepared a lot for this map.
Yeah. Maybe he originally was like the Roto sniper or something. Maybe.
Well, it's definitely not Pig Baby. As you guys can see here, it is Terminator. Pig Baby's still officially on the roster, even though he's now joined another team. What people keep telling me, but he's not here, that's for sure. And
he was actually playing at WCSNA this morning.
Yes, he was.
And he beat Tasia 3-0.
I did not see that result.
How sick
actually.
is that?
That is pretty
That's
nuts.
crazy.
Well, Terminator, a decent Protoss, but why put a Protoss out against a Protoss killer? I don't know. I find the decision strange.
We'll have to wait and see exactly what Terminator has planned. He obviously has something up his sleeve. Every player kind of serving a purpose in this kind of play, match style. All definitely sniping for someone.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump into it. Everyone looks ready. All issues resolved with Solar here. And we are going to jump into what again could be the mass match of the night. Can Solar's streak continue versus Terminator? Let's find out right now.
Down here in the bottom right in the green for JINAIR Green Wings, it's Terminator.
Kind of has that Arnold Schwarzenegger look about him.
Yes, definitely does.
And up here at the top left in the pink, it's Solar, the only player who was able to defeat SOS, the only player able to put a point on the scoreboard, and is the last man standing for Samsung here. Their last hope, their only hope, their last chance. So, Outboxer's the map. What do you think about the Terminator pick personally, Moonblade, for this map specifically?
I kind of like this map for Protoss because considering how hard the fourth bases are for Zerg, as well as the islands, are pretty damn good for Protoss as well, especially if we're going to see some sort of sky toss. We do see that a lot on this map. So I kind of feel like it's a great choice, and it could definitely play into Terminator's style. Granted, I have not seen Terminator play enough to really understand his style. It could be very sky toss oriented.
Well, yeah, it looks like he's going to go for a Nexus first, at least to start things off, with how his probes are queued here. Yeah. A lot of extra probes there.
Very, very interesting. We see a very fast drone scout out of Solar as well. So he's going to be able to identify this. He's going to be able to block it. Going to be very annoying.
Yeah, super annoying. And let's see if the drone will stay. Sees nothing here. He's going to check for gateway in the main, and should easily be able to block it. Sees the probe coming, and it's just going to go right to block it. Good start here so far for Solar. This is really annoying as a Protoss, especially when you don't have a pylon on the low ground. The drone will actually win this fight unless the second probe comes. Okay. The drones constantly regen. Probes have to wait a moment out of combat to get their shields back.
Don't really like the idea of fighting there. He could have just ran around in a circle for a very, very long time. And all Terminator had to do was, like you said, bring down that second probe, and it's pretty much nil.
Yep, absolutely.
Kind of annoying, but yeah, definitely could have done a better block there.
But I mean, what if he wasn't planning on sending down a second probe, you know? Maybe like he wins the fight, then he has to run away, then the second probe has to eventually come from Mineral Line.
Yeah.
So maybe he was hoping like, maybe he was playing on like Terminator's confidence or something. Like, you know, he thinks that my drone's gonna run, but no, it's gonna stay and fight, and it's gonna win that fight. And whoa.
Nice blocking there to
See,
Terminator
that's the
for
kind
a
of
long
block.
time.
Exactly.
That's the kind of block that's ideal. Well, honestly, like there's not as much practice as Zerg players to block Nexuses, I feel. It just doesn't happen as often as the probe trying to block. You do that almost every PvZ you play, so.
Exactly. I've been doing it for 3 years now.
Yeah, it's natural the probe is going to be, the player controlling the probes, probably a little bit more versed in blocking like that.
Yeah. Did see Terminator go for a gateway right after that Nexus, so pretty greedy opening here. I mean, he sees the double expand out of Solar, a good response out of him once he saw that Nexus first. So
yeah, he also pulled out a gas, or he didn't mind any gas to get his core up for a little while there, even though his gases were down, and gonna have that out pretty quick. Now starting to mine that gas, obviously up to about 100. He's gonna get his mothership core out to deter any Zerglings, and is gonna be on his way to getting some tech once that core is done. I'm feeling like we might actually see an Oracle opening on this map. I think it's possible.
I think we're going to see Phoenix, personally. It could be Oracle, it could be Phoenix, but I think, granted where these Overlords are and how aggressive they are, visually for Terminator, he could be like, you know what, I'm just going to go for Phoenix. Plus, it kind of gives the map control he needs if he wants to take an island early, as well as kind of deal with any sort of... he can pretty much scout everything with it, which is kind of important on this map too, considering... third base timings can come from the Zerg to cancel the Protoss' third, because the third base is so open on this map.
Yeah, I think your point about the Overlords is a very good one. I think that it's so tough to hide that information on this map, considering the Overlord placement right now. And you mentioned the island. We don't see players take the island in the early game all too often on this map in Pro League. Do you have a lot of experience with this on the ladder, hitting players who like to drop that?
Not so much. I mean, I have seen it a couple of times in pro games where they do take the island and they get it up quite convincingly. Plus, they go Sky Toss, and pretty much Zerg can't do anything about the islands when it gets to that stage. They can't drop it because obviously Sky Toss is going to crush it, and they can't really go air because Sky Toss is going to crush Zerg air. So it makes for a very hard game if you get to that stage, but it is hard to get to that stage as well.
Sure.
Well, the only tech we have down so far is a Robo, which of course would be good for making that Warp Prism if he wants to take that island, but still, no Stargate just yet.
Yeah, I wonder how he's going to play this. We have seen some of his players. There's the Warp Prism. We've seen players sometimes drop like 2 sentries into the Warp Prism and a probe, and then drop the island to get the base up, and then send the Warp Prism for some harassment, making it multifaceted in that sense.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably what we're going to see here. He could also just be doing some sort of aggressive attack here with the Warp Prism, add some gateways. I would think he would have added those gateways by now, though, if that was the plan. And there's a Stargate, double Stargate. It's going to be Island for sure.
Island for sure, and Sky Toss. So this is the style Terminator was planning on playing, and this is why he chose this map, which kind of makes a lot of
look
sense.
at this hallucinated immortal! Love it!
Takes a shot on that Zergling, though, and if he's paying attention, he'll know that since it didn't take any damage.
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't know if he'll really think to notice that, though. That is, I mean, regardless of whether you saw it or not, that is a very cool move, because this puts then if Solar does not actually see through this, he's going to panic mode right now. He's like, okay, Immortal Push is coming. Got to get ready for this. I got to set up. Cannot make too many drones. But it's the opposite. It's an island base that he's dealing with, and he has no idea that that's what's coming. Yeah,
going straight into Hydras too. So we could see a Hydra timing on the natural at the very least. Will help against the Sky Toss, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see if he's going to go for Void Rays or he's going to go for Phoenix. Looks like it is going to be Void Rays, so he wants to get that big Void Ray death
control, ball. Yeah.
And it's a great choice considering it'll crush drops for sure. It won't give as much kind of like map control as to Stargate Phoenix, but probably a lot safer against any sort of timings, especially from Hydras.
Really cool little harass here. Not a ton of damage, in killing units, but a lot of lost mining time there, trapping those drones. Spire is started here. Do you think with the Warp Prism, it's pretty clear to him that there's the island? Okay, well, he's seen it now with the Overlord, so he knows for sure that the island's going. Do you think he's just going to try to overwhelm with air, with mutas?
He could try, for sure, and it's going to be really up to Terminator to find out if it's going to be mutas or not. And obviously, he has the tech already to completely deal with Mutalisks, but obviously, he's going to have to scout it.
Yeah. He's making Voids, so those aren't going to be too handy.
Well, Voids are going to be good against the Corruptors at the very least when it comes to that kind of like air Death Ball versus air Death Ball. Voids are going to crush the Corruptors, but at the same time, like he's got to have those Phoenixes out in time, or Mutas will just kill the Void Rays.
And there's the recall of the probes.
Yeah. And Solar doing a good job. He's identified this. He's taking a 4th base. He's got so many drones here. He knows what he's going against, so he's just trying to get that economy up really, really big at the same time.
You know what? If he actually like force fielded and then crushed, force fielded the ramp and then killed the rocks, he could have like claimed the space for sure.
Yeah, I think he actually still made force a cancel. He hasn't used the overcharge. There it is, or prismatic alignment rather. There's no queens nearby. The Mutalisks are not finished. This base might actually.
It's gonna be.
He's got second void.
He's gonna lose 2 voids though, which is a big deal at this point.
And is he going to commit? I think he has to commit at this point. It's not worth trying to fight this. Targets and Mutas are always going to be micro back here. Yeah, I think actually trying to kill the base might have been the better choice.
Yeah, he should have definitely killed that. But he's kind of, I think he's like panicking at this point. He's like, oh god, I gotta react to this now. I gotta start making cannons everywhere. I gotta start making Phoenix. I gotta get on top of this before these Mutas get to my base, which I can understand. But he should have just right-clicked that hatchery. Because making a Zerg, putting a Zerg on 6 gas instead of 8 gas is a huge difference at this point of the game.
Yeah. Well, this is not a lot of anti-air over here, but it's something. Guardian Shield goes up to help protect here, but it gets targeted
for about
immediately.
a split second, yeah.
But it helps him, and then even the Voids over here, now it's enough to defend this base, and that was the panic moment, right? But already a big switch into Hydras, and Hydra's speed. I think he's actually going to try to hit a timing at the natural with a bunch of Hydras, surprise him, because they haven't been scouted yet, and they're going to have speed.
Yeah, but
he's got a Colossus, though, yeah.
He's going to have a second one by the time the Hydras get here, so this is very, very smart play by Terminator, kind of being ready for every sort of style that could happen. And I mean, he has only seen this many Mutalisks, so he doesn't have to worry too much about the anti-air at this point. The Colossus range only just started, so he's going to have a bit of a hard time dealing with these Hydras and staying safe with the Colossi.
Well, here's the attack at the front.
Yeah. Overcharge already used here. And he's just going to start picking away here at those buildings. There's no way to save them without actually moving those Colossi out. They don't have range yet, so the Hydras and the Colossi have the same range. Actually needs to go ahead and remake his Cyber Core, I think, because it's definitely going to go down next. Making a bunch of cannons here. It's okay to actually turtle up like this because his third base is still up. It's uncontested. No Cyber Core being remade yet. That's going to be a bit annoying.
And
maybe.
Zerg turns around.
Yeah.
But he is on 5 base now, which is very important. He's going to go up to 10 gas and kind of has like any choice of tech at this point. He just got to get there in time before Protoss moves out and starts doing any sort of damage.
Yeah, because his composition is countered. Oh my goodness.
Ooh. Very, very close right in there with the Phoenixes over the Hydras. And he's just sticking back. Terminator has no reason to move out just yet. And we see Solar amassing a gigantic army. He's now maxed. He's got a ton of Corruptors, Mutas, and mostly Hydras, Roaches, and Lings. So
these Phoenixes need to identify that that there are more Corruptors coming, and needs to actually get more Void Rays coming, because that's really the weakness of this push right now. He does not have enough Void Rays to deal with the Corruptors and the Hydras, together fighting against them. He needs to just keep adding those. I think he is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, he definitely needs as many Void Rays as he can muster at this point. Colossus and Void Ray is essentially all he needs to fight this army. He just can't get caught out on the map against all these Corruptors.
Well, over here, his base is actually not protected. There's only a few Phoenixes, a decent amount of cannons, and 2 Stalkers. I guess that might be enough. The Corruptors come over, but not quite enough Mutas here, especially if he warps in just a few more Stalkers.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything. It's a nice little harass, but he kind of showed his Corrupted Death Ball. Well, not his Death Ball, but Corrupted Ball, which is a big problem considering it's like the one thing you don't really want to show against someone who's massing Void Rays.
Yeah, because then they just know, okay, I just keep making Void Rays. That's what I want to spend my Chrono on, and I'll just make Stalkers only.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gets the cannon off.
Gets his cannon, but still getting a lot of these probes as well. Now he's going to fly away. He's got total control right now. He's got his army right in the middle of the map as well. Going for that Hive and a second Spire, as well as 1,000,000,001 Spine Crawlers.
Exactly. So it's kind of interesting. He definitely wants to hold out for Hive Tech, maybe go for Vipers. He looks like he's adding Mutas again, so he's seen how many Void Rays there are, how little Phoenix there are, so he thinks he can go back into kind of like the Muta Corruptors. But I mean, at this point, Void Rays are getting pretty huge. We've got 9 Void Rays so far, obviously 2 more on the way against 18 Corruptors.
Still a pretty good ratio for the Protoss, and he's got 2 more Voids on the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of need like almost like a 3-to-1 Corruptor to Void Ray ratio if they're fighting under the prismatic alignment. I mean, Suri's got some Hydras to support too, but
some free Mutas.
But some free Phoenixes.
Gets all of them there as well.
Oh, he baits out the prismatic alignment. That's actually pretty nice. I don't think he lost very many Corruptors there. Maybe like 1 or 2.
Yeah, didn't look like many at all. He's adding a bunch of these Stalkers as well. And Solar.
He actually fought again too soon, but now it's offline. The Hydras are coming. I think he wants to try to take an engagement here. He needs to get rid of his max before he can make any additional units. Don't think Ultras are going to be the right choice against this combo if he loses the fight.
Yeah, absolutely not. Void Ray is going to kill them in 2 seconds, but he's going to get sandwiched here.
Oh wow, he's really fighting this the right way, trying to fight the Stalkers away from the Corruptors and the Hydras away from the Colossi. Just too many Stalkers here though. He needs to bring the Hydras back over. And this is actually a nice little tug-of-war game that we're watching here. They're both trying to take control of this location, but 2 armies versus 1. Oh, staying around too long.
Yeah,
yep.
I honestly don't think sandwiching this kind of army is going to work at all, considering the Blink Stalkers are just too mobile.
Yep. Terminator's definitely getting the better trades here. I mean, he could try to turn around and go on these Void Rays, but there's so much support right now, and he's just running them into a corner. He is going to get that base, but
yeah, no
that's about
either.
it. Yeah.
I have to say this is a really awkward position for Solar because he needs to trade his army, but there's no way to do it right, and he doesn't want to just throw his units away. He starts Ultraless here.
I don't
know about this.
No, unless there's like a lot of queens to heal them. Like these Void Rays can actually focus down every Ultra before these Corruptors can kill all the Void Rays. And I mean, after that, it's going to be Stalkers, Colossi versus Corruptor.
Yeah, and it takes a long time to build those guys. I mean, he's got a lot of spine crawlers at that 3rd base, but Terminator's moving in.
He's in a great spot. He's wedged between these bases now. And here we go. Where are the Corruptors? They need to engage here. Now they're starting to fight. Good micro here on these Stalkers, kiting back while the Void Rays do their work in the air. And again, the Ultras, when they're not fighting Void Rays, they do really well against this type of army. And he's actually doing insanely well here. He's going to kill most of those Stalkers, if not all of them. The Colossi, no way to blink.
I think it was an absolutely huge mistake not focusing down the Ultras with the Void Rays. But it looks like the Void Rays won the air battle anyway. And they're going to be
I
here
don't know where
to
these
clean
Ultras are running to.
They still remain, so they're just going to be able to go right above those guys. He's going to begin lifting Queens. We see Zerglings on the way as well. They're not going to do well against 3 Colossi.
And that Void Ray's Prismatic Alignment is almost recharged. It can actually be used again in just a moment. So this is a really scary place. It's just so unfortunate for Solar that he allowed this army to get into this location. Here we go. Ultras running in.
What are the
9
Void Rays?
Ultralists right here. Where are the Void Rays indeed? It looks like Terminator just has to back off. He does not have that Mothership core for the recall that was focused on a long time ago. And with this, I think Solar's going to be able to push it back.
Yeah, he pushes at least the ground army back. There are a lot of Void Rays here, but it's going to take them some time to actually kill these Ultralists. Not sure if he used Prismatic Alignment because they weren't really there during the fight. He might have actually just queued it and then they didn't really fight. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait until one of those are clicked on to know. But there's a lot of Ultras. I don't think he can hold this base. The question is, how much is it going to cost him to kill it? How many of these Ultralists will die? There's only 4 Void Rays and 1 Immortal. And so it's looking like it's going to be a pretty good trade here. He's timid, though. He waits. Checks to see if there's another base there.
Going to be able to pick off some of these Hydras that were separated from the rest of the group with just 3 Phoenixes. That's going to be very useful to keep his Void Rays alive to kill those Ultras.
Yeah, it allows him to zone with the Void Rays. If there's no anti-air with the Ultras, you can kind of just push them back and keep them away from that army. Oh, this is really tense. So there's so many Void Rays here now he's added, but this is a lot of Ultras and a decent amount of Hydras as well. He needs a target with his Void Rays and his Immortals, and keep his Zealots at the front to bug out those Ultras, make sure they can't actually get on the Stalkers. Not doing that, actually. Here we go. Prismatic Overcharge is live, but he's targeting Hydras with them, and it's taken him a long time. The Ultras are doing their damage. They're pushing through here. Good kiting on those Stalkers. There's only 2 Void Rays left, a few Immortals, and all those cannons.
Well, 2 more Void Rays pop out, and still, he just has these infestors for the anti-air. He does not have any more of these Hydras, so eventually these Void Rays will be able to pick off all these Ultralists, and he's going to have to run away again.
What a crazy game. This has been such a good trade here, though, for Solar, because the Ultras live, they did their damage, and they killed the base. Well, he's got a full economy to back at home to continue to back this up. We have a carrier on the production tab. Fairly certain that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Could be useful, but I mean, I don't think it's what he wants right now. He's going to try to snipe an Ultralist.
He's going to be careful here. He doesn't want to get too overzealous. He could just sit back and make Immortal Void Ray, and he'd be in a pretty good position still. He just needs to really start focusing down these Ultras a lot more, instead of kind of just letting the Void Rays attack move, which I think is the biggest problem.
Oh my god, that Infestor snipe was huge. Oh, he tries to trap the Ultras on the low ground. Doesn't happen. 2 Stalkers get caught. 4 Stalkers get caught here as well. And he needs to be careful. That Viper is very exposed right now. It's targeted. He does snipe it, but at the cost of a few Stalkers here.
Yeah, I think a good trade. I mean, he got 1 Infestor, 2 Vipers. He's getting these very gas-heavy units that are going to be so useful for Terminator. But still, I mean, Terminator does not have much mining. Like you were saying, he does not have much left on the ground. Going to have to save whatever he has left. Keep it alive.
Carrier is here.
Carrier has arrived. Don't know why, but it has.
I think it was just a misclick. V and C very close to each other on the keyboard.
And these Stalkers are going to die. They're just completely out of position for this.
Yeah, this is a bit sloppy here. He actually cancels the base, expecting the Ultras to commit, which I think they weren't even going to, so that's just adding oil to the fire, whatever that saying is.
Yeah. Oil to the... Yeah, it kind of makes
Fuel
sense.
to the fire.
Fuel to the fire.
Adding lighter fluid to the fire. Though he's getting ready for a Nidus to actually kill that base at the top, maybe even take his own base to the bottom left. Ultras Cavern's taking a lot of damage here. I highly doubt it'll die, but we've seen it before. It's getting pretty low.
Yeah.
I actually really want to know if that Ultras Cavern is dying right now or not.
I think he's done. He can still use the Ultras for sure. Hopefully it didn't die. It'd be a bit of a mistake.
I think it didn't die, because I think it's still all alive over there.
Oh, these Stalkers gotta be so careful.
God, there's so many Ultras here. This army is like one of the most expensive armies we've ever seen in StarCraft. Oh, that's a Warp Present full of probes. He doesn't even know that's full of probes, but he's gonna. If he knew, he would be so happy. It actually survives for now. Taking that island would be really good. I think he should have thought about this a lot earlier. And oh my God! Oh my God!
He just moves this away, but he loses all of it.
Wow. Too busy looking at those Stalkers running for their lives. And I mean, he's kind of making the composition he needs. He's making a lot of Void Rays and some Immortals. And it looks like it's going to be some Storm, maybe some Archons. He definitely needs feedback against this army, but I don't know if it's too little too late. And I don't know if he's going to attack move these Void Rays again on Queens, which is going to be probably the least effective thing ever.
These bastards are cowards, by the way, not to cut you off, but they could have definitely fumbled a lot earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. Like, I actually have nothing to say to this.
Yeah, they got one feedback, but then they all go down, and now Solar decides to commit, but still a lot of Voiders in the air. He doesn't seem to have any answer for that just now.
Yeah, with all those Infestors dead, it's a bit awkward here. The Queen's actually almost alone could take out those Interceptors, but with the Void Rays joining up now, Interceptors are actually going to help clean that up as well.
So that's actually really good for this point. He doesn't want to deal with any sort of counterattack, but he has the Sky Control at the moment. More Infestors coming out. Not going to be the perfect answer against Mass Void Ray, unless they're all bunched up together. He could definitely start killing some bases here. If he had his... he's got recall, so he could definitely kill a few bases and go home.
Yeah. And imagine how the situation would look differently if that island was taken right now, if he was actually able to get that.
Yeah.
Or at least attempt to, because there is an Overlord over there and he's got a Nidus Network. Great fungal here. This is the money fungal. You got to stay away from those fungals, and the pulls here.
Pulls to nothing. Pulls to death, essentially.
But this is the big attack here. I mean, he's got so many Lings and Ultras just going for this counterattack. There's only 2 Void Rays right now defending this.
Yeah, it looks like he isn't going to recall home.
Oh, he might actually try to sandwich these, cut them off. He's actually going down to the south because he knows that's the path they're going to take. He needs to actually send them around.
If he just goes south from here, he could definitely pick off some of those units. Again, he's got stuff popping out of those Stargates there to kill those Zerglings as well.
This is actually so much damage on these Ultras, but there are some fungals nearby. Needs to be careful with that Mothership core. He time warps here. I want to mention that quietly during all of this, Solar has gotten almost 3-3 for air, so he can make a Mutalisk switch with his bank if the Ultras do die, and he's actually starting it right now. 16 Mutas, 3-3, nearly done. He needs to do as much damage as possible. Terminator that is right now before that happens.
27 Mutas now. I mean,
you canceled there because he doesn't want them to just pop out and die. Smart choice.
Yeah, and I mean, Mass Void Rays against Mutas is not a good choice. Not a good army to have, and he simply doesn't have enough income to go into Phoenix. So it could very well be game the moment they pop out.
Well, these Infestors are a bit exposed, not microed here. And Fungal goes down on that army.
Gets another Fungal as well, but there are just so many Mutas here, as well as even infested Terrans. So here the Void Rays do try to fight, but this is the last of Terminator's army.
I think this is the game, actually. He doesn't have anything left. GG. Solar, man. Protoss Killer killing him, lining him up and knocking him down.
Yeah.
Back-to-back wins here. One more win to tie it up.
It was clear that Terminator had a strategy for the map, and he made it work in the beginning for a while, but eventually Solar just, he had his number, and he was able to take it long enough, build that bank, make that Muta switch. And
I really feel like at a point it was kind of Terminator's game to lose. I mean, he had the composition. He had Mass Void Rays, Stalker, Colossi against Mass Ultra. all he had to really do was focus down the Ultra with Void Rays.
He took some terrible fights.
He attack moved his Void Rays every time, and like he never focused them once, which is actually really annoying because they can kill Ultras with that number really quickly.
Yeah, he like had them fighting the Hydras instead of the Ultras, even when there were only like 4 Hydras there.
He's like attacking Queens, man. Like Queens, like they didn't do any damage anyway. Like I think it was a big mistake.
And that begs the question, you know, is sending out Terminator there in that second game really the right choice?
I think it absolutely is not.
They have so many other answers for this Zerg player. They decide to use Terminator. I don't agree with it at all.
Yeah, I don't like it. I really would like to see Rogue here actually next. That's who I want to see personally. Tavern will chat with Terminator right now.
Well, actually, the map is going to be merry-go-round, and I think if they're ever going to use Maru, this would be the map they'd use it on. This has to be Maru's map, or they just don't use him at all.
Could come out and do that that double proxy barracks we've seen him do time and time again on this map.
It wouldn't hurt, man. I wouldn't put it past him.
I'd like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. You could play a straight-up game, too.
Either way, it is a good map for like kind of like a straight-up game.
Yeah, Hellbat Pressure, you know, one of those types of builds.